Hi, so I'm at Long Street Methodist Church in Middleton today. It's the 21st of September 2025. It's the final day of an exhibition that I've been involved with for a German-born Jewish artist named Käthe Schuftan. This has been an exhibition a long time in the making, really. I've known about her work for about 15 years now, so this is the first exhibition that I've been involved with for her. And it's the first solo exhibition for Käthe's work since the year that she died in 1958. She was born in 1899 in Germany. Suffered really for her art. In terms of she was what was known as a degenerate artist. Her artwork was destroyed by the Nazis, tortured and imprisoned, and had a terrible time in Germany before fleeing over to this country in 1939 to the UK, settled in Manchester and associated with lots of artists in the north of England in particular. Good friends with a lady called Margot Ingham, who ran the Midday Studios in Manchester, and also an artist called Eugene Halliday. Amazing artist, really interesting artist, and we've got this exhibition on today for her artwork. I've got a collection of her work which I acquired a few years ago, and so finally been able to do something with them and have this exhibition for her work. So I'll turn around the camera now and you can have a look at the exhibition. Okay. So this is the church and it's the end of the day now really. It's been pretty busy, it's been really good. We've had some amazing visitors, we've had curators turn up, and we've had a lady come in earlier on who's sort of does talks on the Holocaust to children and to sort of educational, and we've had some amazing people. We've had the local poet laureate come, we've had the mayor come, it's been brilliant, and lots of just normal everyday people just come and enjoy it and sort of stand here and see the exhibition. So there you go, Käthe Schuftan, 1899 to 1958. And this is the first image that you see, the self-portrait here, which is like stunning, and I love that portrait. It's just very direct. It's just, this is me, there's no vanity, it's just, you know, straight at you, looking at you. Fabulous watercolour. Circa sort of early 1950s, I would imagine that. Possibly maybe mid-40s to early 50s. A panel here telling you about her life. She was born in Breslau, which is Lower Silesia, which is it's now Poland, is with the borders changing after the war. But that tells you a bit about her life there. And then we're going to her early paintings now. There's a few paintings that survive she managed to bring with her when she came to Manchester. So she came to Manchester in 1939. She had to have a sponsor. A guy called Neville Rawlinson took her in, give her a job as a housekeeper in his house. He worked in a bank. He was also an art collector, and he just wanted her to paint and said, you just didn't, you know, carry on painting and whatnot. But she did manage to bring some early works with her from Germany. Much of it was destroyed in Germany. She lost a lot of it. She lost work that she had in museums. Like I say, she was put in a degenerate art exhibition as well. And this one is 1936, and you can sort of see perhaps some of her mindset and sort of what was going on at that time. And people have commented quite a lot on this work in particular. 1936. And then a similar work here in terms of barefooted lady here. And then we move on to some of the other figurative works here. This is a man. We've called it Sleeping Man. It's not titled, but we think it's around probably circa 1940s or 50s. It's obviously somebody who's not very well at all with the bottles in the bed behind him. Who that actually is in terms of who it was with regards to Käthe's life, we're not sure. But yeah, beautiful watercolour. Another one here, mother and child work, probably 1940s. And then we move on to one of the most powerful works in the exhibition in particular, which is Mother with Dead Child, which is sort of circa 1930s to 1940s watercolour. People have been talking so much about this painting in the exhibition. I mean, you can see the suffering in the eye there, and it's just such a powerful work. We had somebody here yesterday who lost their child, and she was she was a bit overwhelmed by this work, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's an incredible painting, that one. We move on to a self-portrait here, another watercolour there. They're all watercolours, all these works that we've in this exhibition. She primarily worked in watercolour, maybe a little bit of mixed media, but primarily watercolour. Another one here. This is actually dated 1938, so this is another one that she brought with her from Germany. She came over with this one. And these works here, the three of them, are called King of Fools, and these three works, which are the same subject matter of this king of fools. And we have a bit of text about that, about the significance of these paintings. These are actually 36 as well, so these are early as well. She brought these with her. It's perhaps satire, symbolism, all sorts of things going on with the sort of term King of Fools. And I can show you that You might be able to pause your screen on that, but maybe not. But that's just giving you a bit of information about these paintings. And there's 3 of them. I owned that one, and that one there is owned by a lady called Hefzibah Yohanan, and this is the first time that these 3 works have been together, seen, like sort of hung together anyway, maybe ever, but certainly in decades they've not been together. We move on to a portrait here. This is actually 1947, and this one here, this is the year that the war ended in 1945, and perhaps some of the imagery of the figures that you were seeing in the concentration camps, and this quite striking picture. And then we talk about her post-war art, and it really does shift from the early work that you've seen there, the sort of with the more tonal work that you've seen, to this type of work where it's more a lot of symbolism in these works, but maybe elements of sort of a bit of sinister sort of side with this, with the jester sort of speaking into the ear of this character here. This is 1954, so these are past the war. These are Manchester works now, where she became influenced by friendly with a guy called Eugene Halliday, who was a spiritualist, and these sort of elements here of William Blake, I think, in these works. And look at the little figure here whispering into her ear over the shoulder. Certainly very Blake with that one. And then I like this one here, this hand in a pool of water here, which is 1949. Do talk about, in the time in Manchester, she was associated with a lady called Margot Ingham, who ran an art gallery in Manchester on Mosley Street called the Midday Studios, and Käthe showed at the Midday Studios, which also showed the likes of Lowry, Theodore Major, various other artists that she would have associated with in Manchester in the 40s and 50s. So she knew Käthe knew Margot long after the Midday Studios had finished as well. In fact, Margot wrote something in the Manchester Guardian after Käthe died in 1958. So yeah, in fact, that portrait there is of her friend Eugene Halliday. It's a portrait of Eugene Halliday right there, which is, people have commented quite a lot on that one as well. She knew the writer Tony Warren, the guy who wrote Coronation Street, and in fact Tony Warren included Käthe in one of his books as one of his characters in a book called Light of Manchester, which is a novel he wrote, and there was a character in that book called Magda Schiefer, and apparently Magda Schiefer is based on Käthe Schuftan in personality. I've never read the book, but I do plan to. And that's a list of some of her exhibitions that she had, the ones that we know about anyway, including the exhibition at Salford Art Gallery in 1958, which was just after she died, retrospective just a couple of months after she died, which was organised by Eugene Halliday. He actually organised that exhibition for her in Salford. And then there was something in 2019, a joint exhibition with Eugene Halliday, a small exhibition in North Wales, and then this is followed by the 2025 exhibition at Long Street Methodist Church, which is where we are now. And then these plans afoot for an exhibition hopefully next year somewhere, and then her work to be included in a mixed exhibition in 2027, all being well. So that is Käthe Schuftan. Another work here actually which you didn't look at. You can see this work here as well. And then on this unit here we've got some bits and pieces relating to the Midday Studios. So we've got a portrait of Margot Ingham there. There's actually the Midday Studios by Lowry. He did a few versions of that. Lowry, that one is there's one in Manchester Art Gallery, which I think that one is really like a little small one in Manchester Art Gallery, but there's some larger examples of it as well. There's one at the Lowry actually at Salford. And that's a drawing that by Ned Owens. Margot Ingham and Ned Owens were together; they were married. And that's a portrait by Ned Owens of Margot Ingham, the pair of them set up the Midday Studios. We also mentioned there about John Milne, who was a very famous sculptor who Käthe knew. So John Milne ended up becoming a studio assistant of Barbara Hepworth in St Ives, and was a very good sculptor of his own accord, and brilliant man by all accounts. And he knew Käthe in his younger days when he was in Manchester. And that's pretty much it. There's probably lots more to say, but I won't. But yeah, there's plenty more to learn about Käthe hopefully in the future. That's our plans. Amazing artist, and it's been brilliant to have it in this great building. So that's us. We're just finishing now, and yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Okay, take care. Thanks. Bye.